I want to tell you a story. It is about two fathers. One father was very smart. He had a PhD. He went to the best schools. He always told his son, "Go to school, get good grades, find a safe, secure job." This father worked hard his whole life. He made good money, but he always had money problems. He was always worried about bills. He was always chasing a paycheck. He worked for money. This father sounds familiar, right? Most of us heard this advice. It is the advice our parents gave us because they loved us and wanted us to be safe. The other father was different. He did not finish the 8th grade. He never went to college, but he became one of the richest men in his state. This father told his son something else. He said, "The rich don't work for money. Money works for them." He taught his son how to build systems. He taught him how to buy assets. He taught him how to make money while he slept. This father was not scared of money. He understood it. He knew it was a tool. He saw the world not as a place to find a job, but as a place to create value and build businesses. He was building a machine. These two fathers had very different ideas. Their ideas came from their minds. One mind was focused on security. It saw a job as the only way to earn. The other mind was focused on freedom. It saw systems and assets as the way to earn. The first father was an employee. The second father was an owner. The big lesson is simple. Your financial life starts in your head. It starts with what you believe about money. It begins with your mindset. Your thoughts create your actions. Your actions create your results. Wealth is not just about having a lot of money. It is about how you think about money. So what is the difference between these two men? It is not their education. It is not how hard they worked. It is their mental operating system. One was programmed to be an employee. The other was programmed to be an investor. One was taught to chase income. The other was taught to build a system that creates income. This is the core idea from Robert Kiyosaki's books. Your journey to financial freedom does not start with a loan or a new job. It starts with changing your mind. It starts by questioning the old rules you were taught. It is time to think differently about your financial future. Think of your brain like a computer. It has an operating system. This system runs all the programs. It tells you what to do. Your mental operating system for money was mostly installed by school and by society. What did school teach you about money? It probably taught you very little. It taught you how to be a good employee. Study hard. Get a good job. Climb the ladder. Save a little bit. Don't make mistakes. This is the employee mindset. It is a program designed for safety and security. It is designed to make you a cog in someone else's machine. It is a good program for being a worker. This old operating system is outdated. It was built for a different time, the industrial age. In that age, a safe job with a pension was a great deal. But the world has changed. Pensions are gone. Job security is a myth. You can be the best employee in the world and still get laid off tomorrow. The rules of money have changed. Relying on an employer for your entire financial life is risky. It is like putting all your eggs in one basket. If that basket drops, everything breaks. We need a new operating system. We need one built for today's world. The new operating system is about financial education. It is about street smarts, not just school smarts. Street smarts teach you that making mistakes is how you learn. School punishes you for mistakes with bad grades. In the real world of money, your biggest lessons come from your failures. Street smarts teach you to solve problems. School teaches you to follow instructions. To build wealth, you need to be a problem solver. You need to see opportunities where others see problems. You need to learn how money really works, not how the old rules say it should work. This is the mindset of an entrepreneur. So how do you update your operating system? You start by questioning everything. Question the idea that a job is your only source of income. Question the idea that saving money in a bank is smart. Question the idea that your house is your biggest asset. You must be willing to unlearn what you have learned. You have to open your mind to new ideas. This is not easy. Your old programming will fight back. But to get different results, you must install a new program. You must shift from thinking like an employee to thinking like an owner and an investor. Robert Kiyosaki created a simple diagram. He calls it the cash flow quadrant. It shows the 4 ways people earn money. Imagine a big plus sign. It divides a box into 4 smaller boxes. The top left is E. The bottom left is S. The top right is B. The bottom right is I. Everyone who earns money is in at least one quadrant. Where you are on this quadrant determines how you earn your money. It also shows a lot about your mindset. Understanding this quadrant is a huge step in your financial education. It is a map of the world of money. The E stands for employee. This is where most people are. You have a job. You work for someone else. You trade your time for a paycheck. The core value for an E is security. They want a steady paycheck and benefits. They say things like, "I'm looking for a safe, secure job with good pay." There is nothing wrong with being an employee, but it is the hardest way to build wealth. You are limited by your time. You can only work so many hours. Your income is also limited by your boss or your company, and you pay the highest taxes. The S stands for self-employed or small business owner. These are people who own a job. A doctor with a private practice is an S. A freelance writer is an S. A small shop owner is an S. Their core value is independence. They want to be their own boss. They want to do things their way. The problem is, if they stop working, their income stops. They do not own a system. They are the system. They often work harder and longer hours than employees. They have traded one boss for thousands of customers. They are still trading their time for money. The B stands for big business owner. A B owns a system and has people work in that system. A B can leave their business for a year, and when they come back, it is more profitable. They are not the system. They built the system. Think of a franchise owner with 50 stores. They are not making the burgers. They own the system that makes and sells the burgers. Their core value is wealth creation. They leverage other people's time. They leverage other people's money. This is where you start to build true wealth. They are not working for money. Their system is working for them. Now we get to the last quadrant. The I stands for investor. An investor makes money with money. They do not have to work because their money is working for them. They use their capital to buy assets. These assets then generate more money. This is the quadrant of the truly rich. An investor's core value is financial freedom. They want their assets to pay for their lifestyle. They can be in the E quadrant and also be an I. They can be in the S quadrant and also be an I. They can be in the B quadrant and also be an I. A doctor, S, can invest in real estate, I. An employee, E, can invest in stocks, I. The goal is to have enough income from the I quadrant to live on. Many people think investing is risky. They say, "I don't want to lose my money in the stock market." But here is a key lesson from Kiyosaki. Investing is not risky. Being financially uneducated is risky. Risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. If you do not know how to fly a plane, getting into the cockpit is very risky. But for a trained pilot, it is not risky. It is a skill. The same is true for investing. The more financial knowledge you have, the less risk you take. Investors do not avoid risk. They learn to manage risk. They seek knowledge to reduce risk. The key difference between a gambler and an investor is control. A gambler throws money at something and hopes for the best. They have no control. An investor seeks control. When you invest in real estate, you have control. You can improve the property. You can find better tenants. You can refinance the loan. When you build a business, you have control. You can change your marketing. You can improve your product. You can hire better people. True investors do not just buy an asset. They look for ways to control and improve that asset to increase its value and cash flow. Financial intelligence is not just one thing, it is made up of several different skills. Robert Kiyosaki breaks it down into 5 financial IQs. 5 financial IQs: making money, protecting money, budgeting money, leveraging money, improving information. Think of it like a report card for your money skills. To be successful, you need to be proficient in all 5 areas. You do not need to be a genius in each one, but you need to understand the basics. Ignoring any of these is like trying to build a house with a missing foundation. It will eventually fall down. Let us look at each one. They are simpler than they sound. It is about practical knowledge, not complex theories. Financial IQ number 1 is making more money. This seems obvious, but it is a skill. How can you increase your income? Asking for a raise. Starting a side hustle. Finding a problem in the market and creating a business to solve it. See your ability to earn as something you can control and grow. Learn a new skill like digital marketing and offer that service to local businesses. That is increasing your first financial IQ. It is about actively creating value. Financial IQ number 2 is protecting your money. Once you make money, the world tries to take it from you. The biggest culprit is taxes. The rich spend a lot of time and energy learning how to legally pay less tax. They use corporations. They use other legal structures to protect their money. An employee in the E quadrant gets taxed first, then gets to spend what is left. A business owner in the B quadrant earns money, spends money on the business, and then gets taxed on what is left. Learning basic tax law is a key part of protecting your wealth. Financial IQ number 3 is budgeting your money. This is not about being cheap. It is about knowing where your money goes. A budget is a plan. Rich people have a budget. Poor people do not. A key difference is what they budget for. A person with a poor mindset budgets to pay bills and maybe have a little left over. A person with a rich mindset budgets to buy assets first. They pay themselves first by putting money into investments before they pay their monthly bills. This forces them to be creative and find ways to pay the bills later. It prioritizes wealth building. For decades, we have been sold a dream. It is the dream of a comfortable retirement. The plan was simple. Work for 40 years. Put money into a 401k or similar retirement plan. Then live off that money when you are 65. You give your money to Wall Street. You hope it grows. You hope you have enough when you need it. This plan is based on hope. Hope is not a financial strategy. Kiyosaki calls this a passive approach. It's incredibly risky. You are giving up control of your financial future to strangers. This system is designed to make Wall Street rich, not you. They make money from fees, whether your account goes up or down. You are investing in things you do not understand and cannot control. What if the market crashes right before you retire? Many people saw their retirement savings cut in half in 2008. They had to delay retirement or go back to work. Relying solely on a 401k or passive ETFs makes you a passenger in your own financial car. You're just hoping the driver knows where they're going and doesn't crash. True financial security comes from active investing, not passive saving. It comes from building or buying assets you control. These assets should produce cash flow. Cash flow is the money left each month after expenses. For example, rental property. The rent you collect is income. Mortgage, taxes, insurance, repairs. The money left in your pocket each month is cash flow. This is real passive income. It comes in every month, whether the market goes up or down. It's predictable and under your control. Don't save a big pile to slowly drain it in retirement. Acquire enough cash-flowing assets to cover living expenses. When passive income is greater than expenses, you're financially free. You no longer need a job to live. You can work if you want, but you do not have to. This is a safer, more powerful retirement plan. A plan based on control and cash flow, not hope and stock market gamblers. To build real wealth, you must learn to tell the difference between what is real and what is fake. Kiyosaki points out 4 major fakes in our modern financial world. Understanding these fakes is like having a superpower. It allows you to see through the lies that keep most people poor and trapped. The system is full of things that look safe and valuable, but are actually designed to take your wealth. The first step to protecting yourself is to identify them. Let's break them down one by one so you can start to see them in your own life. The first is fake money. Since 1971, the US dollar has not been backed by gold. It is fiat money. That means it is money only because the government says it is. The government can print as much of it as they want, and they do. When they print more money, the value of each dollar you have saved goes down. This is called inflation. Saving fake money in a bank account is a losing strategy because its purchasing power is constantly decreasing. Real money, in Kiyosaki's view, are things like gold and silver. Gold, silver. They are real assets that have held their value for thousands of years. The second is fake teachers. Most of us get our financial advice from people who are not rich. We listen to our parents who might be struggling with debt. We listen to teachers at school who are employees. We listen to financial advisors who are salespeople, earning commissions by selling us products. Kiyosaki says to be careful who you take advice from. Find teachers who have actually done what you want to do. If you want to be a real estate investor, learn from someone who has a large portfolio of properties, not someone who just sells real estate licenses. Look at their results, not their credentials. The third is fake assets. This is a huge one. Your financial planner might tell you your house is an asset. Your 401k is an asset. Your car is an asset. But Kiyosaki has a very simple definition. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. Your primary home takes money out of your pocket every month for the mortgage, taxes, insurance, and upkeep. It is a liability. A rental property that generates positive cash flow is an asset. Your car is a liability. Your mutual funds could be an asset, but you have no control. Focus on acquiring true assets that produce cash flow. Most people do not have an exit plan. Their plan is to work until they are too old or too sick to continue. They are on a treadmill that they cannot get off of. An exit plan is not about quitting your job tomorrow. It is a strategy to become financially free. It is a plan to build a system of assets that generates enough passive income to cover your living expenses. This is the ultimate goal. This is what it means to have your money work for you instead of you working for money. It is your personal path from the E quadrant or the S quadrant to the B quadrant and to the I quadrant. The first step in building your exit plan is to know your number. You need to know exactly how much money you need each month to live. Track your expenses for a few months. How much do you spend on housing, food, transportation, and everything else? Let's say your total monthly expenses are $4,000. This means your financial freedom number is $4,000 per month in passive income. This is a clear, concrete target. It is no longer a vague dream of being rich. It is a specific goal you can work towards. This makes the entire process feel more real and achievable. Once you know your number, the next step is to choose your vehicle. This means deciding what kind of assets you will acquire to generate that cash flow. Will you invest in real estate? Will you build a business? Will you buy dividend-paying stocks? Will you create intellectual property like a book or a course? You do not have to pick just one, but it is best to start by focusing on one area and becoming an expert in it. Spend time on your financial education. Learn everything you can about your chosen vehicle before you invest your first dollar. This is Financial IQ number 5. Improving your financial information. The final part of the plan is to take action, starting small. You do not need a lot of money to start. If your goal is real estate, maybe your first step is saving for a down payment on a small rental property. If your goal is business, maybe your first step is starting a small side hustle on the weekends. The key is to start creating a new source of income no matter how small. Even an extra $100 a month from an asset is a huge victory. It proves the concept. It shows you that it is possible. Then you just rinse and repeat. You take the cash flow from your first asset and use it to help buy the next one. This is how you build your system. I remember when this all clicked for me. I was working a 9-to-5 job. It was a good job. It paid the bills. But I felt trapped. I would sit in my cubicle and watch the clock. I was trading my life, my hours, for a paycheck. I knew there had to be more. I started reading books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The idea of the cash flow quadrant hit me like a ton of bricks. I was an employee. I was on the wrong side of the quadrant if I ever wanted to be free. I knew I had to make a change. I had to start thinking like a B. I had to start thinking like an I. My first step was tiny. It was almost embarrassing. I loved sports cards. I knew a lot about them. I realized I could buy cards from people who did not know their value and sell them to collectors for a profit. So, I started going to garage sales on the weekends. I would wake up early. I would drive around and look for old boxes of cards. Most of the time, I found nothing. But sometimes, I would find a hidden gem. I would buy a card for $1. and sell it online for $20. It was not a lot of money, but it was my money. It was B quadrant money. That small side hustle taught me more than my job ever did. I learned about buying inventory, I learned about marketing, I learned about sales, I learned about customer service. I was running a tiny business. I was the owner. The money I made was not from a boss. It was from a system I created. It was the most empowering feeling in the world. That little bit of extra cash flow was proof. It was proof that I could make money outside of a job. It changed my entire mindset. It was my first real asset, a small business that generated cash. That experience gave me the confidence to take bigger steps. I reinvested the profits from the cards into other things. I started to look for other opportunities. I was no longer just an employee waiting for a paycheck. I was an entrepreneur looking for problems to solve. I was an entrepreneur looking for assets to acquire. It all started with that one decision to do something different. It started with that first dollar earned outside of a job. You do not have to start big. You just have to start. Your first step, no matter how small, is the most important one. It is the one that gets you off the treadmill. We have covered a lot. We talked about the two fathers and their mindsets. We talked about your mental operating system. We talked about the cash flow quadrant, the investor mindset, the 5 financial IQs, the dangers of fake assets and passive retirement plans. It can all seem like a lot. It can be overwhelming. You might be thinking, this is great, but what do I do now? Where do I even start? The answer is simple. You need to take one small step. Today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today. The biggest mistake people make is getting stuck in analysis paralysis. They read 10 books. They watch 100 videos. They make detailed plans. But they never actually do anything. Knowledge is useless without action. It is better to take one small, imperfect action than to spend another year just thinking about it. The goal is not to have a perfect plan. The goal is to get started. You will learn more from doing than you ever will from reading. Your first deal will probably be a bad one. That is okay. That is your education. That is your tuition for learning the game. So, here is your call to action. I want you to do 3 simple things. First, change one belief about money. Decide right now that your job is not your only option. Decide that you are capable of building an asset. Write it down. Say it out loud. I will build a system that creates income. This is the first step to reprogramming your mind. Second, choose one topic to learn about. Real estate, business, paper assets, and commit to learning about it for 15 minutes every day. Just one. Become a student of that one thing. And third, and this is the most important, take one small money step today. Open a separate bank account just for your future investments and put $10 in it. Go online and research your local real estate market for 10 minutes. Brainstorm one problem you could solve for people that they would pay for. The size of the step does not matter. The action itself is what matters. You need to break the pattern of inaction. Stop chasing income. Start building your system. Your journey to financial freedom starts with a single step. Take it now.